child cannot make decisions for themselves.
Decisions.
Right, because when they do, it's oftentimes the wrong decision. And so the idea that you're going to give your child like hormone blockers, that's just, to me, you're doing a disservice to your child.
Again, if you don't think that these kids are being groomed and being pushed to think a certain way, then you are really, naive.
Hi everybody, welcome back to our channel. So anyways, we were going to talk about, there's a few things I want to talk about. One was being the Dewayne Wade, his son. I want to say his son, but it's not. I should supposed to say
Zaira.
But the pronoun. Okay, so anyways, he's under fire right now, I think, because he took did he take a snapshot of her? The couple is taking a picture of themselves kissing. And everybody's upset at this. Now, so he is Dewayne Wade's daughter is 13 or 14.
14.
I think 14.
Yeah. So
now the reason why I'm having a problem with this is not even necessarily because of the transgender, gay, whatever. It's just because they're too young. Yeah. I think the way they were kissing too is like.
I think.
Did you see the picture?
Yeah. It's like, I think.
Did y'all see the picture? It's, it's
that they are virtue signaling.
You think they're doing this?
Yeah. I mean, first of all, we weren't even allowed to date till we were like 16.
I know.
But my mother would never have taken a picture of me and my boyfriend kissing like that.
Yeah.
And then put it in a photo album.
Right.
When I'm 14 years old, he took a picture of these two kissing, and then he put it on his
page or whatever.
His social media page.
Yeah.
And so there is no reason to do that.
Right. What? So yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like there really is no. They're pushing an agenda. Yeah.
This agenda now with that.
And they're using this kid, their transgender daughter, to push an agenda that is just ridiculous. No one does that.
I think that they're using this transgender.
Yeah.
I think they're using it to pervert.
No, I think what Dewayne Wade did is perverted.
Yes,
I'm not talking about the kids. I'm talking about the fact that a grown man would put.
Why would you do that?
A sexually charged part of 2 14-year-olds.
Yeah, like what would you do that for?
Kissing each other on your social media page.
Yeah.
Not on theirs, which is still wrong, but on your own.
He's obviously being. He has to be being told to do this in some way. To promote this at least.
Yeah, Charlize Theron's kids she's got transgender kids, and Madonna has one, and Angelina Jolie and Brad
How
Pitt
they all have transgender kids?
They all do.
If transgender,
I think what's her name? One of the I can't remember who it is. It's either Sandra Bullock or one of the black kids is a girl now.
I thought that was Charlize Theron. Is it? Someone told us about Charlize.
Yeah.
One of you guys said something about Charlize Theron. They mentioned her. They tried her son. Is it her son or her daughter? I don't know what's happening there.
She adopted 2 black kids. Okay. And one is a girl and one is a boy, and the boy turned into a girl, and she's a single mother. And
so how can it be that transgender, it's so small? Like the percentage of transgender people is incredibly small. What is the percentage? Is it point?
No, it's like 1 point something.
Yeah. Okay. So. It's okay.
It's
a very rare thing, but yet now we're seeing all the celebrities have at least one transgender child. Not gay, not I'm talking about they're focusing a lot on the transgender stuff.
Oh, the whole idea that they keep pushing this kid in front of the camera.
Yeah.
Every chance they can get, it's just promoting young sexuality.
And see, this is what we're saying, is that this is the part that I have the biggest problem with, is that the youth in sexuality is just being normalized.
The other day
it's a little creepy to me.
The other day there was a high school teacher who
if I can find that clip, I'll find it. Yeah,
a high school teacher. They had a
assembly, but
it was for the dramatic arts, in their school, and they had one of the high school teachers dressed up in drag and did a complete drag show, I think singing Lady Gaga song.
What the? It's just a male teacher in drag strutting around in front of his minor students. No problem there at all. And this is how, I mean, just think about how, like, aside from the perversion and the degeneracy involved here, just the goal.
You know, and in front of these high school kids. And the thing is like, that is adult content. You know what I mean? I don't understand it, but do you understand when they say there is no agenda? BS.
Yeah,
bullshit. There is one
agenda.
You know what I mean? There are several you know, LGBT teachers that are literally on TikTok as of crying because they can't talk about their sexuality. You know?
What are you doing?
It's really creepy. There was this guy, and I can find this one. There's this teacher who has he calls it I could be saying this wrong, but a conversion closet. So basically, yeah, he's like what he does is he tells these kids, or if these kids happen to be transgendered, he lets them come to school, and when they come to school, they can take the clothes off that they had with their parents and put on the clothes that they wish they were.
Where is that at?
So
I
can find this. This guy says
I'll put. So I would have reference
teacher.
points, so.
No, I can show you this. I just watched it yesterday.
The goal of the transition closet is for our students to be able to wear the clothes that their parents approve of, come to school, and then swap out into the clothes that fit who they truly are.
And he, I forget what he calls it, but you send your kids, say you have a little boy, you send your kid to school in boy clothes, and then to have a safe space for the kids, they could come to school and then go to this like conversion closet, take their clothes off and put on girl clothes because they really want to identify as girl.
Now the parents, where's it? Do they not know about
So
this?
I think this was a big deal. I'm not sure, but I just know that I just saw the TikTok.
Wow,
he talked about it, so he wasn't even ashamed to say that he does this.
Right.
So it's not like it was you know, he was hiding. He put it on social media.
So the parents are on board with this.
So this is one of the things that prompted Ron DeSantis to talk about, because these are little kids that he's doing this with.
But how
I'm gonna say first grade.
Oh my God.
And so the idea these kids are taking their clothes off and going into some weird closet to put on girls' clothes.
That's upsetting, actually.
That's upsetting. And this was why Ron DeSantis
I don't even have kids that's upsetting.
went after this, you know, schools about kids K through third grade, because there is some sort of agenda where they are trying to make children think they can pick their gender. There is another video with a teacher who's doing I think he's doing a Zoom class, and he's teaching kids. It's a woman that's a transgender man, and she's and the teacher is transgender. She is a transgender male, so he is a transgender male, and he is trying to explain to his students how doctors guess the sex of people when they're born. He keeps saying sometimes, usually they 100% guess right. No, doctors don't guess your sex.
And something cool about me, Miss Hammond? All right, so something that's really cool and unique about who I am is that I am transgender. So we touched a little bit about that at the beginning of this week in the book that Miss Hammond read, but I'm going to give you my explanation about what it means to be transgender as well. So when babies are born, the doctor looks at them and they make a guess about whether the baby is a boy or a girl based on what they look like. And most of the time that guess is 100% correct. There are no issues whatsoever. But sometimes the doctor is wrong. The doctor makes an incorrect guess. When the doctor makes a correct guess, that's when a person is called cisgender. When a doctor's guess is wrong, that's when they are transgender. So I'm a man, but when I was a baby, the doctors told my parents I was a girl. And so my parents gave me a name that girls typically have and bought me clothes that girls typically wear. And until I was 18 years old, everyone thought I was a girl. And this was super, super uncomfortable for me because I knew that wasn't right. The way I like to describe it is like wearing a super itchy sweater. The longer you wear it, the itchier it gets, and the only way to make the itching stop is to have everyone see and know the person that you really are. So when I was 18, I told my family and my friends that I'm really a boy, and it was like this huge weight had been lifted off of my shoulders, and I had the freedom to be who I truly am. And even though this experience is super challenging sometimes, it made me the person I am, and I'm super proud to be transgender.
It's just creepy.
In cases of, what's interesting about this is that in cases of intersex, for instance, we have both male, female genitalia. So
that has nothing to do with transgender.
They're saying that, like, a lot of transgender people are saying that doctors are being sneaky when you're born intersex, because they're just choosing this. They're just choosing. You never, your parents don't a lot of times say so in it. But what the truth is that when people are intersex at birth, the doctors physically examine the baby and see what traits are that are more prominent in the child to then make them a male.
This is intersex.
Choose a male, intersex. Choose a male or a female. They bring the intersex argument to this, and I'm like, no. Gay, transgender, intersex is three totally different things to me. I mean, it is. It's three totally different things.
Intersex is a problem with you physically.
Yeah.
Transgendered is a problem with you mentally. So I don't mean problem, but what it means is it's body dysphoria.
Yeah.
It's when your mind does not match up with what your body is. Intersex isn't that. Intersex is that your body actually has both male and female reproductive. So it's a deformity.
And I think they want to be in that category.
That is what they're trying to do, is use it as a way of legitimizing themselves.
Right.
And I feel the same way about talking about transgender to little kids. You're trying to legitimize yourself by starting kids early about sexuality, because by the time they get to high school, they really know who they are, because puberty comes in. If you're gay or straight. But if you can get kids to talk about this stuff when they're like 2, and they haven't had puberty yet, and they are very vulnerable, and they kind of can be coerced into things that they don't really understand. Transgender is a mental issue.
Yeah,
it's not a physical issue.
They don't like for it to be called like that, a mental.
Well, because now they're trying to make it so that it's just like this, everyday sort of thing. But it is like a mental issue. If I look down and I had a penis and I'm saying I'm a woman, then I'm realizing that my mind and my body, I know my mind and my body aren't adding up.
Well, that's what happens when they treat anorexic.
People have
anorexic. Yeah, they have anorexia. They do that test with anorexic people when they get into. Oh, they used to. I'm not sure if they still do that. Where the doctor will have them stand in front of a wall and then outline themselves on the wall. Right, it's a full size. They would outline themselves on the wall, and then they would step away from the outline, and what the anorexic person outlined was usually like 2-3 times bigger than what they actually are. So that's a body dysmorphia. It's the same. Like the same thing. They're thinking one thing, but they're another thing. It's another thing. So it's the same thing that's happening with transgender. It's like it's a mental. It would be. I think before it was called a mental disorder.
Yeah. Yeah, because it is.
It is a mental disorder, right? But I think they think that when people call it a mental disorder, that they're calling them crazy, you're nuts. They can be grouped in with people who, are,
The problem with it, though, is I think the problem that's happening with this whole issue is the idea that now we all have to participate in the lifestyle.
Yeah.
If you don't, you're called a bigot.
Then you're called, yeah.
You know what I mean? And a lot of celebrities are on board with it. This is the reason why Dewayne Wade is pushing his child out for everyone to see every 5 minutes. And Charlize Theron and Madonna's, voguing with her gay son. And, it's just this whole idea. It's just to get people, or get kids sort of confused about things. You can't pick your gender.
Yeah.
I'm just sorry, you can't. You are who you are. And a lot of people think, the sex and gender is different. I don't.
Yeah, I don't either. But now it's like people are saying that, telling a child, like children will know at the age of blank at 5 that they are transgender, and I think that is just horrible.
It all started though with when that that show, the movie Cuties, came out, where the little kids were twerking and they were showing little girls doing.
Do you remember that? You guys remember?
It was a controversy because
we did a video on that.
Real little kids to do the video.
It was from France. Was it France?
Yeah, somewhere around there, and it was just inappropriate.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, and so this whole idea that we're slowly trying to sexualize these kids, and they're getting younger and younger, and now we got a high school that's doing drag shows, and we've got a man who's doing a transition closet in his you know what I mean? And so when they say that there is no agenda, that is just really bullshit.
Yeah. And I was listening to a podcast the other day, and this person was on there saying that, I can't remember what the podcast was, but they were talking about this, and they were saying that, you know, the more people have to start talking about how this is not normal because they're trying to make it so normal, and that what happens in, you know, just like the culture, or, you know, we just kind of go along with what we're seeing, and eventually we will just kind of go with what's happening, and then it just kind of be okay. We just transition into believing, okay, yeah, it's just normal. So I just feel like more people have to talk about that it's not normal to have little children talking with their teachers about, you know, their sexual orientation, or having like you know, even that video, like going back to what you're talking about, that man who did the drag show for the school assembly, like just the fact that he was singing Lady Gaga.
Right.
Because Lady Gaga, the lyrics of Lady Gaga is really, her lyrics are rough, you know what I mean? And just that alone just is not good. But then being okay with a teacher, you know, prancing around and drag, and I just don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the lady made a good point.
When did the parents when did they get to say something?
Well, I don't know.
What I mean?
The school board,
like,
they approved this because they went on stage, but this lady was, this woman was, her point of view on that was, I think Matt Walsh read this woman's point of view.
Yeah.
She said, she's like, this is so inappropriate. This is just so inappropriate on so many levels. I mean, she was just like, this is being called dramatic art. She was just like, well, so is stripping. Are we just going to have women on poles up here now stripping for high school students? Because that's part of the arts too. If you want to add drag queens, you have to add strippers.
Yeah.
So do you understand, like, where do we draw the line? I mean, even this lady that was at the school board, she was so angry because she found out that the teachers were teaching, their kids about sexuality, and the lady was really hurt. She yelled at the school board. She's like, how could you I send my kid to school so you can be teaching them stuff that I did not approve.
Right.
And that is how parents have to be, because that is wrong. The school board is siding with something that can damage kids, and they're not therapists.
Yeah. And a lot of parents are against it. I think it's overwhelmingly amount of parents that are really against this. I'm not a parent, so I can sympathize with this in some way.
But that would make me upset.
It would make me mad that, you know, when kids, you know, so even if children are, let's just say gay, let's just use gay right now. Even if they're gay, I don't think there should be times where at school it's not the appropriate time to have these coming out days. Even if you're gay, even if you know that you're a gay person, that's not what school is for, to be talking about this. You know, there are other platforms and things you can do to get out. But more than anything is that the parents control their child's life until the age of, here is 18, you know, in most places it's 18 years old. And there's a reason for that, because they want to make sure they're shaping them the right way, and then you can live your life as you see fit once you're able to take care of yourself and go out there in the world and, you know, and have more, you know, experience of things. So the fact that these parents they're taking care of their children, but not being told, you know, what they're being taught.
Yeah. And
things that are okay. I just feel like that's not fair for parents. They're in charge of this child's life.
You know how angry I would be if I sent my son to school
I'd be pissed.
And he went into a transition closet and I found out he's been wearing dresses and nobody told me this.
I wonder how I wonder if they
he went online and said it, so he wasn't secretive. Oh,
he wasn't secretive.
He said it.
That's
so
weird.
I'll show you. It was a teacher, and he just said it, and I thought, what?
What state is that? That's so weird.
What? I mean, there has to be laws that protected him on that. For him not to get in trouble for that, because that's just weird and weird. You know,
but see how? We're going to talk about in a minute about celebrity culture and stuff in a second. But I feel like this is what we're saying here is that when you see someone
It's
like
important
Dewayne
that
Wade,
celebrities have
yes,
these kids. Like I was saying about women who are feminists that have to be married.
Yeah,
they have to
it has
make
to
it
be.
look as though it works.
Yeah, right.
Because
And
if
we
they
know that.
don't, it's a failed experiment.
Right.
So the same thing here. We have to have these celebrities that we love.
Promoting this stuff.
All have a transgender child, so that it becomes law. Because the thing is when celebrities do something, people go along with it. If you can change language, and you can if you add celebrities, if you can change language, you can change laws. And that was the thing, but like Ron DeSantis' bill, it's called the Parental Rights Bill, but they keep calling it the Don't Say Gay Bill, and everybody's saying that, and it has nothing to do with that at all. But you understand how if you change the way something sounds, you can change the culture in it. It can look like he's being a bigot when that's not even the name of the bill.
Yeah.
And they're just continuously saying that. And so the same thing is, it's just
and
like
media's regurgitating that
this
same
lady
lie.
right. And this lady was saying this the other day about the transgender thing. And I'll show you the video. We'll watch it later.
What is it?
I'll show you. It's a video. Her name is you can go. She's pretty interesting.
I'll
Her name
link it
is
below.
Gothics.
Gothics.
And she's a black woman that's a conservative.
I'll link
but
it
she
below.
looks like really gothic. You know what I mean? She's got like a shaved hair. But she used to be a liberal. And then she was I hate Trumper. And then she started to actually look at Trump's policies. And she started to really realize that a lot of her rhetoric came from other people, celebrities and things like that. And then she said, I realized I've been brainwashed. And I felt that way because I know what that feels like to actually be kind of conservative and then actually just be liberal, because most black people are. And so she did a video on this subject. That was her last video that she did. And it was like 42 minutes long, and she did this whole line of TikTok, of reaction video on TikToks for 42 minutes. And it was very interesting how many like LGBTQ people are just, that are teachers, so many, you know what I mean?
That's the I'm sorry.
That's what's interesting. And then she was just saying how very the thing about transgender is that if you believe that you are a woman and you are biologically a man, I'm okay with you going
I'm
and
actually
calling
okay with
yourself
that
a
too.
woman. But I don't think that, she said, but I'm sorry, I can't believe that just because you want me to. She said, because to me that would be a lie. And the thing is when they get us to lie, it becomes law.
Well, but
that's the point.
Well, it's
it's
like we were saying before, is that there has to be some truth.
There has to be some.
There has
sort
to
of
be
truth.
some truths in this world.
I'm okay
and,
with transgender. I'm okay with the idea that someone body doesn't match.
I don't know that struggle.
I don't know that struggle, and I don't. But I can't. I am not going to say that I'm a cisgender woman and you're a woman.
Yeah.
Now you're making up what names for us.
We're getting new names.
You keep making names up for you. Stop making names up for me. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, that's just it though. The culture.
Yeah.
When it's celebrity, it can become law. And that's why it's important that whatever your truth is, when it is just actual truth, you must stand in that.
Yeah.
Because if not, this is just the same thing as like George Orwell with the thought crimes. They force you to say things you know isn't true. Because if you don't say it, you lose your job. You can lose your kids. I mean, there are states out here that if you don't go along with your child's transgender thing, they can take your kids away from you.
Right.
If you're a parent and you don't go along with this hormone blocker thing, and your kid says, "I'm a woman, I'm a girl, but it's a biological boy," and if you don't go along with that and give them hormone blockers, in some states they will take your kid away.
Well, because they look at it as
child abuse.
Child abuse, or this child, you're not allowing this child to be themselves. So you're suppressing who they are, and I think on being on the parent side, and being on their side of the thing, I would say no. They are in charge of this small human life, until they become of age. Parents have to do everything they can in their power to keep their child safe and make sure a child cannot make decisions for themselves. Yeah. Okay, that's why parents, children, when they say, "Oh, I want to wear this today," a lot of times children will, they'll be dead of winter and they want to wear a spring, outfit. And you live in a cold state. You can't it's just like that. You can't let your child make these decisions.
Don't get to make decisions.
Right, because when they do, it's oftentimes the wrong decision. Now, when they get older, obviously, and they get into the teens, maybe even later teens, they're becoming young adults. So it changes somewhat, but you're still a child.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so the idea that you're gonna give your child like hormone blockers at the age of like 12 or 13 or whatever, or younger in some cases. That's just, to me, you're doing a disservice to your child, because the first thing I would do is take them to a psychiatrist.
Right.
That would be my first, a therapist of some kind. You don't just jump to that. And
Because
the fact that you can get in
like,
trouble for that,
right?
Right.
It all becomes political. So pretty soon, doctors will then just say,
I know, right?
They will begin to say things like, yeah, that's a real girl.
Yeah. I mean, it's coming.
You see what I'm saying? And see, that's the thing,
Yeah.
is that culture can influence, like language and culture can influence laws. And, so the thing is like, we're trying to get kids against their parents.
Right.
And making teachers the new parents. And that's why a lot of these teachers that go on TikTok and make these videos that go, I'm trying to protect my kids. They aren't your kids.
Yeah.
They are your students.
Right.
They have parents. They are not your kids, though.
It's interesting how they got the teachers in this now, because first it was just celebrities or whatever, but the quickest way to get your child indoctrinated is through learning of some sort, or in a learning environment. School is obviously a learning environment, so that's like the quickest way. Is you're first of all, you're away from your parent for hours out of the day, and you don't know what's going on in that day, right? As a parent, you don't really know what's going on, but you're trusting that the teachers, the principal, whatever, that they're all doing what would be considered the majority the right thing, the healthy thing. And so when you have teachers doing these sneaky things, behind the parents' back, to me, it's just not. But they've gotten into the schools. But that's what's crazy. They got into the schools.
And see, this is how this happens. See, this is the one thing coronavirus really did help. Is the fact is that kids didn't go to school, so they did a lot of those Zoom schools.
Yeah, right.
And so a lot of parents, this is how this all happened. CRT, critical race theory, and this sexuality stuff. Parents didn't really know this was happening in school. It wasn't until their kids couldn't go to school and had to do Zoom with the teacher that they were able to watch the curriculum. Yeah. And think, what is this? What's going on here? Or like, what is?
Especially with the CRT.
And they were telling the school board was telling parents that they really didn't want their parent they didn't want the parent around their kid while they were in class at home.
Right.
They were trying to, and this is why they're trying to keep the parent away from the kid while they were at home during the lockdown. It's because they're trying to sneak stuff in. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so
parents learned, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but parents learned a lot during
that time.
Yeah, during that time. Remember, I was telling Kara that I was watching Joe Rogan. I watch Joe Rogan all the time, but I was watching him one time, and he was talking about this, that his daughter was doing the Zoom class during the height of this whole coronavirus thing. She was doing the Zoom thing. So they have lunch, right? Obviously, just like a regular. So they have lunch. And so she was still sitting at her desk, and she was eating her lunch, and he had walked by in his house, in their house. And he walked by, and he was like, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm eating my lunch. He said, yeah, but why do you still have the camera? Why is the camera on? The teacher was like watching or whatever. Why do you have the camera on like that? And she was like, Bill, because... yeah, I'm supposed to. And then he's just like, no, we're not doing this, right? You go to a table like a normal person, and you're going to eat like a normal person. He looked at the teacher, and he's like, why are you doing this? Like, what are you doing? Like, I'm home. Like, what? Right. What do you, I mean, like, I don't understand. So then she was like, no, you have to keep the camera, the computer open so we can see what's going on. He's like, no, my daughter, he shut the computer on her, but he was like, no, my daughter is going to eat her lunch at a table like a normal person and not being... not having to have a voyeur just stare at her while she eats. Not happening. So he just shut the thing. We'll be back when lunch is over. Right. And then she was, I like that he did that, because it's really, it's parents, I feel like, are not going to be empowered. They're trying to not empower parents to parent. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And, over the years, though, even when, because the way that we were raised compared to the way that our generation raised kids, is that we become more friends with our kids than our parents were with us. That's true. Because we think that if we're somehow friends with our children, then somehow they'll open up to us more. But you can't be, it's not good to be a cool mom. Right. Or a cool dad. You got to be able to be a parent. They have friends. They don't need one in a parent. They need a parent. They only get one of those. You only get, you get two parents. That's it. You know what I'm saying? They get a slew of friends. Right. But they need someone that has experience, wisdom, and logic. Because kids don't have that. So if they're getting all their information from their friends, right. You know what I mean? They're not getting good information. This is why you have to let parents parent. You know what I mean? Yeah. Now, if there's a child that goes home, he's getting abused, of course, the schools come in and they go, this kid's got bruises all over them. You need to do something. But just to go and and mold minds that aren't developed enough to understand the curriculum simply because you're trying to pass some sort of fairness.
It's creepy.
To people that are very small amount of people in our country. Again, if you don't think that these kids are being groomed and being pushed to think a certain way, then you are really, naive.
So we were going to talk about on Friday's videos. We're going to continue this conversation as normal, but we were going to talk about the celebrities that shape culture, and it goes back to even this topic now because it's because of them pushing a lot of this stuff is the reason why we do the things we do. So we're going to continue talking, and then this part will be up on Friday. So thanks for watching, guys. Bye.